Pass on file. File item 361, Senator Jackson. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1540 by Assemblymember Gray, an act relating to tribal gaming and declaring the urge thereof to take effect immediately.
Senator Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. The compact before us today is one which was executed on August 26, 2015, between Governor Brown on behalf of the state of California and the Santa Ynez Band of Chumash of Mission Indians, a federally recognized tribe in the beautiful Santa Ynez Valley, part of the Santa Barbara County District, which I am honored to represent. This compact would supersede a 1999 compact between the tribe and the state of California. The tribal gaming is a bridge to help tribes regain self-determination and economic self-sufficiency. And after decades of poverty and high unemployment on often geographically remote reservations, Native American people now see gaming as an integral part of tribal economies and the means to achieve economic self-sufficiency for current and future generations. This compact authorizes the tribe to operate a maximum of 2,500 gaming devices at not more than 2 gaming facilities and only on the land held in trust for the tribe as of the execution date of the compact. The tribe has agreed to pay the state its pro rata share of the costs the state incurs for the performance of its duties under the compact, as well as 6% of the casino's net win if it operates more than 350 slot machines, to be shared with tribes that are not gaming or otherwise that are not substantially benefiting from gaming here in California. The compact also provides a framework for the sharing of gaming revenue with Santa Barbara County for infrastructure improvements, including fire, law enforcement, public transit, education, and other services. This revenue sharing operates via an MOU between the tribe and the County of Santa Barbara. This MOU is part of the compact outlined in Section 5.3. It is dedicated money set aside for local projects. This is a significant change from the 1999 compact, in which revenue sharing distributions came through the Special Distribution Fund and was allocated by the legislature to the local community. This new mechanism for revenue sharing creates a strong link to the local community. Within the compact, there are specific provisions on how the revenue sharing funds can be spent on local projects. It provides incentives for renewable energy, water conservation, non-gaming related economic development, and healthcare facilities, which many of you, if you recall, yesterday I adjourned in the memory of a Chumash elder who had set up an extraordinary health facility, which to this day serves over 17,000 people, only about 5% who are actually tribal members, the rest of whom are members within the surrounding community. The compact also includes provisions to protect employees and patrons, as well as measures to protect the environment. It has full labor support, law enforcement support, as well as tribal support. Upon all the necessary approvals, this compact will be valid until 2040, including regular audits of gaming operations and other enforcement and public safety measures. With that, I would respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Members, any debate or discussion? Any debate or discussion? Seeing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. I. Bates. Bell. Berryhill. I. Block. I. Canella. I. De Leon. Fuller. I. Gaines.
Aye.
I. Galgiani. I. Glazer. I. Hall. I. Hancock. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Weso. I. Huff. I. Jackson. I. Lara. I. Leno. I. Leva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. I. Morrell. I. Wynn. I. Nielsen. I. Pan. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner, I. Stone, I. Vidak, I. Wachowski, I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Secretary, please call the absent members.
Bates, aye. Bell, I. De Leon, Hancock, I. Pan.
Ayes 38, noes 0 on the urgency. Ayes 38, noes 0 on the measure. Members will move forward now to file item 362. Senator Hill, Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 804 by Assemblymember Roger Hernandez, an act relating to shorthand reporters.
Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. AB 804 requires the Court Reporters Board of California to adopt regulations to establish continuing education requirements for renewal of a shorthand reporter's certification that are relevant to the practice of shorthand reporting. Furthermore, AB 804 requires the board to establish a procedure for approving providers of continuing education courses. In 2007, the Judicial Council adopted a continuing education requirement for all personnel employed by the court, including California shorthand recorders, stating that continuing education is essential to enhance the fair, effective, and efficient administration of justice. AB 804 ensures that every CSR meets a continuing education minimum standard and that the verbatim record continues to be held to the highest standard possible. I respectfully ask for an aye vote, members.
Thank you, Senator Hill. Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen, I. Anderson, no. Bates, no. Bell, I. Berryhill, no. Block, I. Canella, I. De Leon, Fuller, Gaines,
No?
no. Galgiani, I. Glazer, I. Hall, I. Hancock, I. Hernandez, I. Hertzberg, I. Hill, I. Weso, I. Huff, Jackson, Lada, I. Leno, I. Leva, I. Liu, I. McGuire, I. Mendoza, I. Mitchell, Monning, I. Morlock, Morrell, no. Wynn, no. Nielsen, no. Pan, I. Pavley, I. Roth, I. Runner, no. Stone, no. Vidak, no. Wachowski, I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Secretary, please call the absent members.
De Leon, Fuller, Huff, I. Jackson, I. Mitchell, Morlock, no. Mitchell, aye.
Ayes 27, noes 11. Measure passes. Members will now move on the following items. File item 363, 364, 365, 366, and 367. And 362? Great, wonderful. File item 362. File item 363. Senator Hertzberg. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1077 by Assemblymember Holden, an act relating to mutual water companies.
One of the more famous speakers of the other house served from 1959 to 1961, and he's famous for one thing, and we'll all know when I mention his name. His name was Ralph M. Brown. The open meeting, the idea of transparency and allowing folks to participate in government. And so a number of years ago, we extended that Ralph M. Brown Act to mutual water companies, but a lot of these folks are in places, as a number of the members know, who represents people from all parts of the state that are in quite remote areas. So what Assemblymember Holden does with this measure is he allows folks to participate and to adhere to the requirements of that great speaker, Ralph M. Brown, by using Skype and other types of electronic services. It's kind of an intelligent and thoughtful thing. It's a wave of the future. Ask for your vote.
Thank you, Senator Hertzberg. Members, any debate or discussion? Any debate or discussion? Seeing none, members, would there be any objection to unanimous roll call? Yes, there is. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. I. Bates. I. Bell. I. Berryhill. I. Block. I. Canella. I. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines.
Aye.
I. Galgiani. I. Glazer. I. Hall. I. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Weso. I. Huff. I. Jackson. I. Lada. I. Leno. I. Leva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. I. Morrell. I. Wynn. I. Nilsson. Pan. I. Pavley. Roth. I. Runner. I. Stone. I. Vidak. I. Wykowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Secretary,
aye.
please call the absent members.
De Leon. Fuller. Pavley. Pavley, aye.
Ayes 38, no 0. Measure passes. Members will move to file item 364. Senator Mendoza. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1509 by Assemblymember Roger Hernandez, an act relating to employment.
Senator Mendoza.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I'm here to present AB 1509 by Assemblymember Hernandez, which will strengthen California's critical employment retaliation provisions. Recent cases and examples highlight several major gaps in California statutes that prohibit retaliation against employees for engaging in protected activity. AB 1509 will close those gaps in order to protect California workers. The bill has no opposition. We'll respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Mendoza. Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. No Bates. No Bell. I. Berryhill. No Block. I. Canella. I. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines.
No?
No Galgiani. Glazer. I. Hall. I. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Weso. Huff. No Jackson. I. Lada. I. Leno. I. Leva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. No Morrell. No Wynn. Nilsson. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. No Stone. No Vidak. No Wykowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye. Nilsson, no. Weso, aye.
Secretary, please call the absent members.
Wynn, no. De Leon. Fuller. Galgiani. Aye.
Ayes 26, noes 12, measure passes. Members will now move to file item 365. Senator Mendoza. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 400 by Assemblymember Alejo, an act relating to highway signs.
Senator Mendoza.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm here to present AB 400 by Assemblymember Alejo, a bill that allows the use of states' existing changeable message signs to remind voters to participate in elections and to register to vote. The author has worked closely with the state transportation officials to amend the bill to ensure that these messages will be displayed at appropriate times. These messages will not be displayed in times of an emergency to public safety and will not take precedence over amber alerts, blue alerts, traffic alerts, or any other safety alerts. This bill has the support of Secretary of State Alex Padilla and has passed out of Senate Transportation and Housing Committee with bipartisan support, which respectfully ask for your support today.
Thank you, Senator Mendoza. Members, any debate or discussion? Senator Nielsen.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, for decades, literally decades, bill after bill after bill has passed this legislature to ensure that we had a high voter turnout in California. Bill after bill. I think someday I'll have someone count up the numbers of them. and give examples of what they've been. Here's yet but another one. Well-intended, but futile. Futile flailings to induce an electorate to vote. Somehow we haven't figured it out. But this one is particularly, I think, ill-founded, and it should be ill-favored. Those doggone highway signs, to me, are distracting enough. I don't even like those electronic billboards because I think they're distracting. These signs ought to be only for the safety conditions of our highways and the safety of the individuals. Now we're going to start messaging, so our caution signs become nothing but another advertisement. In this case, advertising to show up and vote. It's a poor way to go about inducing the people of California to utilize that. Actually, I call it a responsibility as well as a right. They don't have to, and that's okay. But my point, idea after idea have been futile towards eliciting a greater voter turnout. I do not think 2 years from now, were this bill to be law, you're going to see it being any factor whatsoever in increasing voter turnout. In some cases, we need to quit flailing at the wind.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen. Senator Stone?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to support AB 400 in contrast to my colleagues because I want my colleagues to see the benefit of supporting AB 400 because, as you know, during the budget process, we are advocating that we spent money that we had to fix the roads and bridges that have created the congested highways, the highways that haven't been repaired. And what a great reminder to the public when they see these signs. Vote today for the roads that are crumbling that the legislature would not allocate unless we could raise your taxes to do it. So I encourage my Republican friends to support this. And let's get the message out. Who's responsible for the crumbling roads in the state of California? Vote yes.
Thank you, Senator Stone. Members, any further debate or discussion? Seeing none, Senator Mendoza, would you like to close?
Again, members, I just want to assure you that these messages will not be displayed in inappropriate times. They will not be in conflict with any safety alerts. And this measure has nothing to do with repairing roads or any other matters as such. So with that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Aye. Anderson? No. Bates? No. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? No. Block? Aye. Canella? Aye. De Leon? Fuller? Gaines?
No.
No. Galgiani? Aye. Glazer? Aye. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Wesso? Aye. Huff? Aye. Jackson? Aye. Lara? Aye. Leno? Aye. Leva? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Morlock? No. No. Morrell? No. Wynn? Nilsen? No. Pan? Pavley? Roth? Aye. Runner? No. Stone? Yes. Aye. Vidak? Aye. Wachowski? Aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye.
Secretary, please call the absent members.
Wynn, no. De Leon? Fuller? Monning? Pan? Pavley?
Ayes 26, noes 9. Measure passes. Members will now move to file item 366. Senator Anderson, Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1506 by Assemblymember Roger Hernandez, an act relating to employment and declaring the urge thereof to take effect immediately.
Mr. President, Senators, AB 1506 represents a compromise that strikes a balance between an employer's right to an accurate pay stub and prevent litigation over minor violations under the law under the Private Attorney General Act. I urge an aye vote.
Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing any debate or discussion? Members, would there be any objection to unanimous roll call? Seeing none, Ayes 38, no 0 on urgency. Ayes 38, no 0 on the measure. Members, let's see. We're on file item 367. Senator Bell. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 90 by Assemblymember Chow, an act relating to housing.
Senator Bell.
President and members, this bill, AB 90, is a package, part of a package of bills this session that address severe affordable housing crisis we are having in the state. This bill designates the Department of Housing and Community Development as the state entity responsible for administering the new federal funding for affordable housing through the Federal Housing Trust Fund, or the Trust Fund. The Housing Economic Recovery Act of 2008 established the Trust Fund as a permanent federal funding source for affordable housing. The fund can be used to construct or rehabilitate rental housing for extremely low and very low income families, as well as assisting families at these income levels to become homeowners. This is estimated to be about $40 million a year. The AB 90 requires the department to develop an allocation plan for how to spend the money through a stakeholder process, and is required to report back to the legislature on how the money is spent. I urge an aye vote on this measure.
Thank you, Senator Bell. Members, any debate or discussion? Any debate or discussion? Seeing none, members, would there be any objection to unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none. Ayes 38, no 0, measure passes. Members, and we're now going to go through some add-ons, starting with file item 303. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. File item, let's see here, 355, Senator Block. Okay. All right. So, yes, Senator Hueso. Senator Hueso, file item 107. All right. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 254 by Assemblymember Roger Hernandez, an act relating to elections.
Senator Hueso.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, AB 254 limits established election dates to June and November starting in 2020. By consolidating elections, AB 254 will help avoid standalone or off-cycle local elections. Standalone elections have shown to decrease voter turnout, increase cost per voter, and encourage special interest influence. A healthy democracy is based on civic participation. Over the last 3 decades, multiple national studies have shown election timing is one of the strongest indicators of voter turnout. This includes consistent election dates. Elections that are held off-cycle at times other than June or November have very low voter turnout. Studies have shown that voter turnout is sometimes in excess of 25% lower. High voter turnout is integral to the health of our democracy in not only resulting in less costs in the election system in terms of the off-cycle, but also in creating more representative government. Stable and consistent election times will help build positive voting habits and make elections more accessible to voters. I respectfully ask for your aye vote today on AB 254.
Thank you, Senator Hueso. Members, any debate or discussion? Senator Morlock.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise just to oppose the bill, but to ask some questions, sometimes trying to be a little more efficient. And combining everything gives you a rather massive ballot So I can still remember when I ran for treasurer, a lot of people said, well, we didn't care about your race because it was so far down the ticket that we didn't even pay attention to it. So if you're going to combine all these races and elections and kind of remove local control on when they're voting, I think you trade one problem for another. And I respectfully, sincerely, and happy birthday oppose this bill.
Thank you, Senator Morlock. Senator Mendoza.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of this measure. I'm very happy to see that these elections should be moved to a even year in the fall. I represent LA County and I represent Orange County, and just like the previous speaker, he represents Orange County. And Orange County took the step a few years ago to move all their elections to even years in the fall in November. So Orange County has actually been in the forefront of advocating for a bill like this that they actually did themselves. So I commend my county that I represent. I commend the author for this bill, and I wholeheartedly support it, and I hope you will too. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Mendoza. Senator Anderson.
Well, I want to thank my colleague for making the point that we know at least one county has already done what's best for them, and we know that 57 other counties are doing what's best for them. So we don't need to have one size fits all. We should leave it to local control. They already have the ability right now to make those changes. As we learned from our colleague, Orange County is on the cutting edge of doing it. But that works for Orange County. I'm not sure that works for Siskiyou County. I'm not sure that works for other counties. Let's not be heavy-handed in this. We're all about one goal, and we all on this floor agree with that goal, and that's for a higher voter turnout, because we know with greater participation that we'll have better results and more roads built. But the bottom line is, if we come out with one size fits all and we force it on those counties, we can't predict that's going to increase voter turnout. And I think that we all want that number to increase. Let's see how Orange County does. Let's see if their numbers improve. And if that improves as like a pilot program, then let's revisit this. But without that data, just across the board saying this, these are big assumptions. I don't want to make any assumptions when it comes to the voters. It's always a surprise on Election Day.
Thank you, Senator Anderson. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing none. Senator Hueso, would you like to close?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to state there are no assumptions here. The data is very clear. All studies have shown off-cycle elections reduce voter participation. It's a fact. There's nothing to argue here. There's nothing to dispute. This will lead to more voter participation, but also on the fiscal side, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to save local governments millions and millions of dollars that are going to amount to billions of dollars statewide. We need to invest those dollars into our streets, our parks, our communities, not into elections that result in less representative government and low voter turnout. This is a measure that the state needs to pursue to make sure that no matter where you go in California, all elections are held in the same period of time, because that will help get more people to the polls no matter where they live. And it will push people to get informed during the months where they expect to be going to the polls. A lot of people that move in different parts of the state oftentimes move into new communities and are not aware that elections are taking place, and thereby are not ready and prepared to go out to vote. This is a good measure that will consolidate elections statewide. We should all support it. This is not a partisan issue. Thank you, Mr. President.
Great. Thank you, Senator Hueso. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. No. Bates. No. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. No. Block. Aye. Canella. No. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines.
No.
No. Gaggiani. Aye. Glazer. No. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Hueso. Aye. Huff. No. Jackson. Aye. Lara. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monty. Aye. Morlock. No, Morrell. No, Wynn. No, Nielsen. No, Pan. Aye, Pavley. Aye, Roth. Aye, Runner. No, Stone. No, Vidak. No, Wykowski. Aye, Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Secretary, call the absent members.
De Leon. Fuller.
Ayes 24, noes 14, measure passes. Members, we're now going to move to file item 346. Senator Hall.